article was written and basically saying that a lot of the discrimination that black immigrants receive
It's from Black Americans.
is from black Americans. I'm going to read some of this. Winsome Pendergrass watches as her fellow black New Yorkers take selfies in front of Brooklyn Central Library. Rap lyrics penned by hometown hero Jay-Z cover the Art Deco facade to promote the artistic exhibit dedicated to hip-hop mogul. But Pendergrass feels more drawn to the weekend farmers and market she frequents across the street, where tables loaded with fresh produce transport her back to her homeland 2,500 miles south in Jamaica. She picks up a yam, also a staple in black American kitchens, and expounds on its use in African cooking. She holds a bright green okra spear and explains how her older Jamaican relatives, like countless black elders in the U.S., were unfazed by the nutrient-rich vegetables' slimy texture. So she went on the whole.
So she don't care about the Art Deco facade. She cared more about going to the vegetable market, because that relates to her because she's Caribbean.
Yeah. She marvels at the way enslaved Africans, her ancestors and forebears of most black Americans, sustained themselves by transforming the worst cuts of meat into favorable meals, yada, yada, yada. Black people, but they in Jamaica, in Jamaica or the U.S., carry inside them this capacity for perseverance over adversity and scarcity, she says. And yet it feels to her as though some black Americans look down on black newcomers and resent them for taking the opportunity they fought long hard to get. You know, the people who tell me to go back to my country the most is black people, not white people, Pendergrass says with a sigh.
Why would they want you to go back?
Her experience reflects a widespread reality among black immigrants whose ranks have swelled from just over 2 million in 2000 to nearly 5 million today, or about 1/10 of the nation's black population, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. These newcomers have settled themselves in East Coast cities such as New York, Newark, Washington, and Miami, are expected to double in number by 2060. Pendergrass 64, who migrated to the U.S. 2 decades ago and became a naturalized citizen in 2011, is part of the surge. She participated in a nationwide survey of immigrants conducted by the Times in partnership with KFF, formerly known as the Kaiser Family Foundation, that provides unprecedented insight into the 1 in 6 American adults who were born in other countries. Those from African and Caribbean experience are double burden of discrimination in the U.S., both of immigrants and as black residents in the country, with a long history of racism, according to the first of its kind survey. Black immigrants.
That's what she say.
Huh?
That's what she say.
Brittany said yams and collars, blah, blah, blah.
LOL.
Black immigrants, for example, are more likely to report experiencing workplace discrimination and unfair treatment by police. And while a third of immigrants overall say they've been told to go back to where they came from, that figure jumps to nearly half for black immigrants. Pendergrass says that those words are especially aggravating when they are spoken by citizens from her own race. There's a great divide. Oh, you're from the islands, Pendergrass says. During a separate focus group this summer with immigrants from the Caribbean and sub-Saharan Africa, several say they too have been dismayed to find that black Americans treat them more harshly.
Lies.
As a result, they avoid associating with that community. So they're saying the reason why they don't associate themselves with black Americans is because of discrimination. They say that they've been, what's the word I want to use, turned into an out group within black America. What I found funny is a lot of these people would tell you that they got this feeling, particularly when they got here as children and in school, come humbly, no problems, no smoke. That's what I'm about to say, Regina. A lot of y'all come here as children and go to school, and like anything, when a child doesn't understand something, especially black children, they're going to ridicule, they're going to joke, roast. It's normal. But
That's what we do.
But y'all take them roastings as people not liking you.
Your roastings is no, now we're the same, or now we're the same race.
Another thing that happens is, let's be honest, with any culture on the planet, when you move around another culture, it is expected that you assimilate into their culture.
And they don't.
If you don't, there's going to always be strife.
Sounds like they want to be victim.
So when you as a Jamaican go to a black American neighborhood and start a Jamaican restaurant, and you walk around with this Jamaican flag and you're saying you're Jamaican, you're telling them I'm not you.
Exactly.
So the natural thing for I would say the foundational culture, the culture that you came into, their job is to either make you assimilate or make you leave. That's any culture on the planet. If you are a Black American and you go to Jamaica and you don't adapt to their culture and their customs, you probably gonna have to leave. Or you're gonna just be alone somewhere in your own little house and not talking to them.
And that's typically what happens.
You have to, because if you don't adopt their customs, you're gonna be an outsider.
Matter of fact, when you go to these African countries, they abuse you. They find out that you're American. They try to hustle you, scam you, try to get you to pay more money for the housing there. We know that we've seen shows like the Black Ink of the Gambit where you get pulled over. Instead of them shooting you, when you get pulled over, they charge you money for you to be released.
Yeah.
They're no better. Kiefer, yes.
Go suck your mother.
Go suck your mother.
Yeah, like that bumble clock. Yeah. All right, Pendergrass says takes special offense to the hostile attitude because when she's not working as a private nursing assistant for seniors, she often demonstrates and lobbies public officials for affordable housing and tenants' rights in largely low-income Black and brown communities.
There we go, Black and brown. This is supposed to be an article about Black immigrants feeling like they're being discriminated against Black Americans, but somehow they have to tie in the brown.
All right, I'm sorry. I'm fighting for all Black people, she says.
Sure she is.
She flashes back to an incident that happened on a crowded city bus when President Trump was in office.
Oh, here we go, trying to try Trump into Black people's xenophobia.
Yeah. A Black man refused to make space for her when she tried to sit in two...
Shout out to Honorable.
What up? A Black man refused to make space for her when she tried to sit, and the two exchanged words. A Black woman who was listening chimed in. I guess she picked up on my accent, Pendergrass says. The next thing that she said was, I can't wait till Trump runs them back home.
That's what I said.
Let them go back to their country.
That's what I
said. Are you addressing me? And she says, yes, Trump is going to run you out. A Black woman who listened, I read that the irony of the passionate insult was too rich given Trump's racism and his record of publicly disrespecting Black women.
When did Trump disrespect Black women?
Maybe
we talking about? Did he say something about Kamala?
I don't know.
What do y'all know anything about Trump disrespecting Black women?
I said to her, "You better pray I'm here to defend you when Trump tries to run you to the land of no return."
Or was she talking about when Trump said, "Get that son of a bitch off the field"? Is that what she's talking about?
Oh, Colin Kaepernick. Or anybody who knew what he was talking about. How can someone who can trace their ancestry back to the twin horrors of slavery and white supremacy see Pendergrass as an adversary? I'm not here to take anything away from African Americans. I love my African American brothers and sisters, he says. The mandate for the descendants of enslaved Africans is to show common cause with each other and has been sewn into the Jamaican psyche, Pendergrass says. Even so, some in Jamaica believe Black Americans have lost touch with their shared heritage as they fought to achieve racial progress.
She lying. No one ever said that to her. Made up story.
So she's saying that Jamaicans in Jamaica believe that Black Americans have lost their ancestral claim and that they no longer see them as the same race or something? She says here, even so, some in Jamaica believe Black Americans have lost touch with their shared heritage as they fought to achieve racial progress. So they're trying to say Black people in America are like white people?
Jamaica are the same group of blacks, quote unquote, that call Chinese, Indian, and other groups Jamaican. They don't care about their nationality or where they come from. They say when you come to Jamaica, you are a Jamaican. And we're not even going to talk about the other islands. Trinidad, Indian. Half of them not even black, quote unquote. They're Indian or mixed.
They disown their people, but what a day when I people come together, start to hold each other. Reggae legend Burning Spears sings in Greetings in his 1982 musical plea to Black America. What a feedback the wicked get. So we get the point. So she's saying,
she went on to Marcus Garvey.
She went on to Marcus Garvey.
A Negro that never stepped foot on the continent of Africa, that went to Europe.
We know the whole story of slavery that everybody is trying to deny, Pendergrass says, not even the political rift of the U.S. over the teaching of Black history. This country's foundation is built on their backs and the backs of their parents and the parents before them and the parents before them. It happened to us here in this country and in the Caribbean and parts of the world and other parts of the world. This should make us come together. Pendergrass first visited America in 1999 through the U.S. government program for Jamaican agricultural and hospitality workers.
So she trying to come over here and lay claim. Water Liberals News focus on Trump's alleged racism, but barely if ever, Biden's blatant racism. Exactly.
Bruh. Biden
We're going to get to MC Light Ass
we
later.
were supposed to get to Biden like 20, 30 minutes ago, but we keep having to restart this.
How have we lost touch? When is them who advocate for us going to stop centering race?
The U.S., who is rugged individualism and hard-edged capitalism, outwardly bore little resemblance to the homeland of dreadlock Rastafarian visionaries
and righteous reggae singers. They call them righteous.
Jamaica may be a vacation paradise, but if you happen to be from here, being there, it's hard to get ahead, she says. Poverty, crime, lagging healthcare services, the indifference of powerful nations to extract natural resources while doing little to little for everyday people. Many factors have been spurred her compatriots to flee the island.
There is poverty, crime, and lagging healthcare services in the United States. Why don't you go to Canada? They have free healthcare there. Just saying.
Yeah. Flipping through handed-down copies of Ebony and Jack magazines as a youth, she fawned over glamour shots of black hitmakers such as Diana Ross and Smokey Robinson, all the while daydreaming about living in the country.
We know you want to be here.
It's funny she said that because we didn't show it, I don't think, last week, or the week before last, I'm sorry, where in Jamaica there was a video of a Jamaican dude saying, I want to look like those people in America. You talking about black Americans saying that they were.
And I told dude not to show that because I think Ashley Ariel 89 is Jamaican.
Yeah.
And I did not want to, I'm going soft. I didn't want to offend her at that moment. So I said, don't play that.
Yeah, he said, I want to be silver like those people. So it's funny when she reminisces about her youth. When she reminisces about her youth, she's talking about Diana Ross and Smokey Robinson, two people who are light or is Smokey biracial?
I don't know. Smokey never came out.
Whatever they are.
He's a black man. That's what he said.
Whatever they are, they want that look.
Kiefer said, something she seems to not understand is that all skin folks are not kin folks. We don't have to include everyone that looks like us. In fact, we shouldn't. I agree.
The Pendergrass says there are times when she feels like an outsider looking in at black America.
That's because you haven't assimilated to black Americans.
Yeah, to compensate, she holds tight to what gives her comfort, the culture of the tropics. She goes to the farmer's market not just to buy vegetables and specialities like wild fowl. The familiar lit in the voices of the favorite Afro-Caribbean sidewalk vendors rings like music to her ears. She converses with the designer of Suriname in South America who's selling handmade shirts and dresses in tribal African prints. And with a fellow Jamaican, she knows a sister Tracy who offers spices and herbal yada yada yada.
So she wants to be familiar with the culture that she's from, but she also wants to be here and quote unquote live in luxury.
Yeah, so
we gonna order those. We gonna order those boots though.
Yeah, they keep putting those boots there. I'm like, man, please get off the screen.
Like, I guess she trying to see the damn boots.
Black American civil. This last little bit I'm gonna read. Black American civil rights leaders, entertainers, artists, and educators in the 1960s and 70s saw hope for racial uplift and the liberation of nations such as Jamaica, Ghana, and Kenya from white colonial rule. Today, more and more descendants of enslaved Africans are using DNA testing to trace their roots to the ancestral homelands. As Pendergrass makes her way to where she lives in Brooklyn, Brownsville neighborhood to rest on a 95-degree day, the block party gives up for the Bedford, yada yada yada. Kids race through the spray of a fire hydrant and families barbecue in the front stoops. Revivers dance and sweat on the asphalt to black house music mixed with African and Afro-Latino rhythms. Yada, yada, yada. They brought up, what's his name? Marcus Garvey and all the other stuff. Gatanya's violin is playing. The woman says she wants to be loved. She feels like an outsider in our culture. That's not a bad thing?
No. She chooses to be. Assimilate.
Oh, how do you say assimilate?
Well, like what Gina said, come humble or get smoked.